Boys, welcome. We are
Yeah,
Shalom.
thank you.
Hey, I love it. Welcome to the Passion Project. I'm super grateful and stoked to have you guys here. What a fun, cool pleasure for me to have the international lot. I can't wait to talk story and tell the story and learn a lot about your story, and the viewers will see your shirts. But in a nutshell, we're going to talk about HaGal Sheli. Did I say that right?
Yeah, HaGal
Okay.
Sheli.
Me and my Hebrew are not super on point these days, but what an amazing organization. We're going to dig a lot into it. But instead of me introducing you, would you guys mind, because I want to make sure we get the names just right. So let's start with you, Yaron. Your name, say it the way it's supposed to be said.
Right, it's Yaron Waksman.
Waksman. We were just talking about, is there a history of a relation between Waksman and Workman, which is my mom's maiden name? We'll have to look at the genealogy and see.
Yeah.
All right, Ephy.
That's right, Ephy Shapiro.
Shapiro.
Yeah.
Hey, remember, shaka distance.
Oh, I gotta get a little closer.
Little close, shaka distance. When we're talking to surfers, all of which you three are, shaka distance is easy to remember.
Oh, I think that's
there
perfect.
You go. Yeah, perfect.
Right
all right,
Yeah.
and to my right,
And my name's Klil Valiano.
I said earlier, it's like a sexy name. Right? It's very smooth.
You
And
should
Mark
hear Mama.
Schuline, not quite as sexy. Before we dig in, you guys are not from here, right? So let's talk about your story's a little different, Ephy, but let's talk about, where are you guys from? And then we'll talk about why you're here and what we're doing, what you did this morning. And so where are you from? We'll start with.
Yeah, so I'm born and raised in Petah Tikva, Israel.
Say that one more time.
Petah Tikva.
Okay.
In Israel. Yeah, the is
Not usual.
So I grew up there. I used to live in Tel Aviv, which is in the center of Israel, for 2 years. And now I'm back in Petah Tikva, my hometown.
And where is that compared to Tel Aviv?
Without traffic, 20 minutes from Tel Aviv.
Oh, it's not
with
far.
traffic, about 2 hours. Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah. Well, we understand that here in California as well.
Absolutely.
And near the coast?
No, it's not a coastal city. It takes about 15 to 20 minutes drive to get to the sea.
The sea, to the Yam.
To the
Nice.
Yam.
I learned today that Yam, Y-A-M, is similar to Kai, which is ocean in Hawaiian and in Hebrew. I got a new one. And your son's name is Yam.
Correct.
That's super cool. Very, very cool. Yaron, where are you from in Israel?
Right, so my dad made Aliyah from Australia to Israel in 74.
Say the word that you just said, Aliyah.
Aliyah.
What's that mean?
He
For the
came-
non-Hebrew
Yeah, sorry. So my dad moved to Israel.
from Australia.
From Australia, right? To join the IDF after Yom Kippur War of 74. And I was brought in Rishon LeZion.
Say that one more time.
Rishon LeZion, it's like a city, it's a big city, southern to Tel Aviv. Big city, not the best neighborhood.
Well, we'll talk
Interesting
about
stories.
that because that will
Yeah.
lead us into what you created. And where do you live today?
And now in Jaffa.
In Jaffa. And where's Jaffa in Israel? Where?
So it's like the closest to Tel Aviv. It's like south to Tel Aviv, but
Very close.
Yeah.
Got it. All right. And Ephy, you're the least accented of the lot.
Oh,
Where are you from?
Who you ask. Yeah, everybody
Right.
makes fun of my A's and my Midwestern accent. I'm from the surfing capital of the Midwest, and just by the Malibu of Sheboygan, Wisconsin, but I grew up in Milwaukee.
Is that right?
Oh yeah.
And you're now living in Israel.
Yeah,
You've been there
yeah.
for a dozen years. Is that what you had mentioned?
Yeah. 12 years now, living in Tel Aviv also.
And what took you there?
Wow, well, I grew up going there every year since I was a kid. Had a lot of family there, and felt really like home, a home away from home, just a little hotter. And when I graduated college,
Hold on. Israel and Milwaukee.
No, it's nuts. I feel like my
There's
grandma.
not a lot.
She grew up in Minneapolis, and anything below 60 degrees, and she's like, with a down coat, and that's how I am now. It's terrible living in the Middle
That's
East.
very
and come
funny.
back here, yeah. But yeah, I got stuck. My wife, my life partner, whatever you want to call her, my love. Yeah. There you go.
Well,
If you're
whatever you
listening
call
to
her,
this,
she is gonna
she's
watch,
Gonna
so.
listen to this there.
you're allowed.
Yeah. So she's a big reason that I'm still there and live 5 minutes from the beach. So
Awesome.
I can't complain.
And you're living in Tel Aviv proper.
Tel Aviv, yeah.
Got it. And The one time I was in Israel, I was shocked by the surf in Tel Aviv. I mean, I was like, I wanted to go. I didn't get a chance to, which is a bummer. And I promise everybody, we will get to where we're going, but this is all a good setup. So what did you guys all do this morning here in Newport Beach, California? What did you do?
We were surfing.
Yeah.
Just like we know and love to.
Yeah.
Yeah. We got
And
out
that's
to
a
the sea.
common bond between the three of you, right?
Yeah.
100%.
And it's a big part of why we're here. So
Yeah.
I'm super excited to talk about how this all connects. I did not surf this morning. I did paddle. I got on the water with my group of friends, but surfing has been a big part of my life my whole life. I don't surf nearly as much as I should or as much as I used to, but I started surfing when I was a little kid and have been very fortunate to surf all over the world. And I'm sure you surf much better than I do these days, but it's something that you never give up completely, right? So let's talk about it. So you guys are here visiting California because of this organization, and we can see it on your shirts, HaGal Sheli. And again, if I butcher it, you got to help me out. But we're going to talk all about this great organization, the really good work you guys do in the world, and where it came from, why, and we're going to dig right into that. Is that cool? I'm really excited to learn more about it. There's a lot, and at the end we'll share where you can find out more. It's really an impressive organization doing such good stuff for the world. The way I think today is going to go is we're going to break into like 4 chapters of sorts. So one, we're going to talk about why it started. What was the genesis? How did you guys create this thing and for what reason? We'll dig into that. We'll then go into, it's not the elephant in the room, it's the elephant in the world, but it is a very challenging time in Israel right now. And I would imagine, based on what's going on there since October 7th, you guys had to pivot. Maybe not pivot, just ramp up, or what you provide is even more valuable than it was before.
Right.
Which is incredible. It's almost as if you built this thing knowing that you were going to be additionally needed. But it's incredible what you've done. So we'll dig into that. 3, Klil, we're going to talk about your personal experience, which I haven't dug into it, but I know where you were, and we will talk all about what you went through and how you ended up working with this organization and the benefits, and really as a participant in the value that's being provided, and really understand from a firsthand perspective what you get and how it works and why. So I really look forward to that.
Absolutely.
And then we'll talk about what's happening today and tomorrow and where you guys are going and what that's going to look like.
Perfect.
Is that cool?
Yeah.
Sounds amazing.
Right
Sounds
on.
great.
I'm so stoked to have you guys here. Thank you so much. I mean, you're a long way from home, and I'm super grateful to get this opportunity.
Yeah,
So
thanks,
My
man.
pleasure
That
being
means
here.
means
yeah,
the world.
rad.
Yeah.
Well, let's start in. So let's see. Yaron, you co-founded HaGal Sheli over 10 years ago. I'm going to ask you to tell us how it started, what was the vision, what was the genesis of it. But let's talk a little bit about the guy that's not here. That's your co-founder.
Mm-hmm.
Share a little bit about him.
Omer Tulchinsky, everybody calls him Tuli.
Tuli.
He's the smartest guy. He's the successful one. We always say that he's like the brains of HaGal Sheli.
Hey, listen, just so you know, I have a business partner at work. We know exactly what our roles are. And my wife would say we're 2 halves of the same brain. But you need both halves. So I suspect you're just as valuable. He might be the smart one, but you have a whole different skill set that's just as valuable to
Thanks
get where
so
you are
much.
today. I guarantee that's the way it works. All right.
Thanks so much. Yeah, no, he's really, really, really special guy. Has the biggest heart. As a clinical social worker with trauma specialist. And yeah, he's amazing.
So he was a trauma specialist
Yeah.
before you guys created this organization.
So we were friends and we become even closer during studies. We studied first degree in education, second degree in education and management. And he just kept going on and on, learning about therapy and trauma and nature therapy, and goes on and on and on and on and on. Now he lectures a lot, and he's the guy leading all of our pedagogical
So I'm sorry,
work.
say that. What was that?
Pedagogical? How'd you say it?
Yeah.
Pathological?
Pedagogical. He's
I don't-
educational director.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
No, I'm sorry, go on.
yeah, so we met actually the very first day of school. And I didn't mention that, but like I grew up for an amazing family, made some very bad friends as a teenager, got drifted away.
This is you.
This is me. Fighting, knifing,
Oh, wow.
big mess. And at the age of 16, I found out about surfing and about the ocean. And I used to go out a lot and learn so much. And
So let's stop for a second.
Yeah.
So early in your teenage years, you had drifted and you were doing some bad stuff.
Mhm.
Even though, as you said, you came from a good family.
Mhm.
So you just got caught up in the wrong group of people, or there was something in your life that was driving you, or whatever it was. But then you found surfing.
Correct.
Okay, let's stop there for a second, because what I'd like to do is, because the people listening don't know what the organization is about. So I'm going to ask you, tell them, can you tell the mission, just what HaGal Sheli is and does, and the mission, just very quickly, and then we'll talk about how you got to the point that you started.
Super.
Is that
So
cool?
yeah, so HaGal Sheli is a nonprofit using surfing as an educational and therapy tool, helping people cope with life challenges. It's very, very big in Israel.
Yeah, like you guys are like celebrities in Israel.
In Israel, we're celebrities.
That's
Here, nobody
incredible.
knows about us, but yet. But we have 10 seafront locations all across the coastline of Israel, from Nahariya up north to Ashkelon.
Yeah, we're
down
gonna
south.
dig. It's amazing. And I asked the question earlier. I'm like, you guys, we're gonna talk about this right now, and then we're gonna get back into why it created. But I wasn't kidding when I said you guys were celebrities in Israel, because of the size and the scale and what you guys do. And it's a relatively small country, and it's very important. You just won a big award. Who wants to tell me about the award that you guys just won?
All right. Well, yeah, we've been fortunate over the years of being recognized for our impactful work. You know, this is way before I got to HaGal Sheli. I've been around for a little over 3 years now, and we've over the years won Salesforce Nonprofit of the Year. Just now got the keys to the city in Bat Yam, where everything started. It's like the OG center right on the beach. It's amazing.
So Bat Yam is
Yeah.
a city.
Yeah, it's a
and
city
you got the
just
keys
south
to the
of
city.
Tel Aviv.
There's
Yeah,
a synagogue here in Newport Beach called Bat Yam. So I just wanted to make sure it wasn't the keys to the building. It was actually the keys to the city.
Yeah, it's
Gotcha.
I guess it could also be sort of a temple for many, but it's a city just south of
Okay.
just south of Tel Aviv, and also this guy right here and Omer Tuli were recognized as the People of the Year by like Israeli equivalent of Time magazine.
That's
So
what I
it's,
wanted. That is incredible.
Yeah, it's
Incredible. So congratulations. Again, I know we're bouncing around a little bit, but for those, because in Israel, your organization is very big, very recognized, and very well understood. Here, you have very little recognition, or as you said, yet. And that's part of the reason that you're here. So I just wanted to shine a light on exactly how big it is and how important and how well recognized you are. So that's a quick framework. Okay, so we can stop. And now we're going to go back to the why. Or as you were talking a bit about how not even the why yet. We're talking about the foundational. You guys met in school, and you were talking about Omer, and now he's public speaking and such. But you drifted. You had a tough childhood. You get to university. Oh no, you got into surfing. So I want to keep this really clean so we can really follow it. Keep going on you and Omer in school and how it grew into something formal. How you created something from that.
Right. So as mentioned, like at the age of 16, drifted away, doing bad stuff. Fortunately, started going surfing, meeting the right crowd, nice people. One day they literally dragged me into a youth movement called Hanor Oved Ve'Alomed, and just started going there and surfing and education and surfing, and my life really changes. You know, stop doing bad stuff, I started to volunteer and instruct. Then I did a year of service before the IDF service. I joined the HaGal Corps. I was a commander in the IDF, finished that, and ever since I decided to pay it forward. And this is the reason we started education management and everything.
Okay, hold on. I'm going to stop right there. We're going to come right back to that. But let's talk a little bit more. Surfing, we talked about. You guys all surfed this morning. And you guys are surf turkeys. So I definitely heard that when we were talking earlier. But you talk about surfing and how it benefited you, but you go through it pretty quick. Help us understand what it was about surfing that was so transformational for you. Was it the people? Was it the act? Was it being in the yam, the ocean? Was it, I'm learning. What was it that helped you become, like what was it about surfing that changed your life?
Right, so I think that, you don't control the ocean, right? We're just talking about surf line and stuff. You go out there, it could be dead flat, it could be big, it could be scary, and you don't control the ocean. And if you think about it, so many things in life, you don't really control them, right? But you do get the sense of like you can grab a board and go out there and do your thing. And I think it's like the perfect educational, mental, therapeutic arena to understand life to the full. Because if you go out there again and again and again and again, eventually you're going to make it, and you're going to ride this wave, and you're going to have so much fun. And I think, it teaches you so much about yourself, about resilience, about how to cope with so many challenges that encounter you, And yeah, it's a long process. And you could always do good and do better. And really, it has an amazing, amazing impact. And once you realize, it really builds your character. I think like people listening here, people live by the ocean, surf, not surf. I think you guys get it, right? Yeah. And growing up, you see people, you see choices. One of my best friends, he's in jail for a lifetime for murder. Okay, so when you're young, when you're doing small stuff. When you're getting bigger, you're doing bigger stuff, right? It could be to the good, it could be to the bad. But I think at the end of the day, you're the one who gets the chance to choose. And same with the waves. The waves today, you were in California, blah, blah. The waves were not that good, right? And also in life, you could get not the best cards, right? Not the best cards. But you could go out there and play and do your thing and grow. And I think that's about it.
So it's thank you for that. Because clearly, and again, the viewers or the listeners will understand more and more that you've taken that mindset and that understanding of the ocean and surfing and turned it into this incredible organization that is helping tens of thousands of people. Because I think that if you're from the Midwest and you've never surfed, you're going, surfing is just a sport and it's a bunch of, you would never equate what you've just described as a value from the ocean or from surfing. Now, I always say this podcast is not a surfing podcast. It's not a paddling podcast. It's a people doing really cool stuff and good stuff. But there's also a lot of surf and paddling and stuff. And I always ask the question, what is it about the ocean that's so endearing or healing or powerful? And, people use the word, it's like a church. It's spiritual. It's cleansing. You guys have taken that and turned it into something incredible, which is, again, you're celebrities, for gosh sakes. So it's really, really neat. When did you recognize that it could be something bigger than just the benefit it provided you? Like when you were going through that personally, it was probably just you going through it personally. At some point, something happened with you, maybe with you and Omer, where you're like, if it worked for me and worked for us, I bet it would work for others. Right. Do you want to talk about that next, where did HaGal Sheli come from?
Right. So I had this experience. Tuli, my co-founder, was in the Navy SEALs in the IDF. We used to study first degree together.
When you say first degree, is that university?
Yeah.
Okay.
First degree and then master degree.
Okay, so it would be your
bachelor's.
undergraduate or okay.
And like we were on scholarships and everything, so we had time, and we said, why not doing something good? And we came up with this crazy idea, why not try to bring kids who dropped out of school, every school system, dormitories, shelters, teach them how to surf for free. But the deal goes like this: you're gonna go back to school. That's the deal. I'm gonna teach you how to surf, you're gonna go back to school. And we took 10 kids.
Where did you find those kids? That first group. Where did
This first group, one of our lectures was a last chance school in southern Tel Aviv.
the last chance school? Okay.
And we're like, can you give us the dropout list? Everybody just dropped. It's like, sure. Would you mind giving them a second chance? It's like, yeah, sure. So we just started calling them one by one. Hey, we don't know each other. My name is Yaron. Would you like to learn how to surf for free? It's like, oh yeah, cool. Wait, there's a catch. You got to go back to school. So one by one, we took the first 10 kids.
How many kids said no? You
Approximately 10.
remember? 10 said no and 10 said yes.
10, yeah.
Wow.
And we went to surf schools and asking, like, we're going to volunteer. How about letting us use your gear, insurance, etc.? No. The third surf school said yes. And we started this process, meeting with the kids once a week, every week on Wednesdays.
Once a week.
And you could really see how they grow and cope. And, it's not like a linear line, right? They go back, then they miss school, skip school, and we talk about things. And fast forward, 10 out of 10, 100%, 10 out of 10 went back to school. By the way, it was 10 years ago. They're all graduated already. Some of them are part of HaGal Sheli staff. And that moment, the end of the first year, both Omer and I, we quit our jobs. We took out personal loans. We bought surfboards, wetsuits, gear, and everything. And this is how we started the HaGal Sheli nonprofit. And ever since, it became this crazy journey. We came to the city of Tel Aviv. Like, we have this amazing program that brings kids off the streets and back to school. They stop using drugs, etc. And they're like, and we need nothing. We just need a shack, some place to put the boards and the wetsuits and everything. And like they said, no, 2 kids, 26 years old, place on the beach. No, you're not gonna get it. We went to Rishon LeZion, another city. No, Herzliya, no. And we said, okay, if it's not gonna start from the top, it's going to rise from bottom, and we just started knocking on every hotel, restaurant, cafe. No. It took us 3 months to go door to door and find the first place in Bat Yam city, and get there the first room. And in the very first year, we found ourselves with 100 participants in our programs.
100 the first year in Bat Yam.
In Bat Yam.
And that's incredible. So first, this is like a startup story, like a business startup story, but for good. This was wasn't a nonprofit out of the gate, was it?
We had no idea what's a profit or nonprofit.
Yeah, right?
We just saw 10 kids that we wanted to be there with them and for them. Then they called up their friends and siblings, etc., etc. It kept growing and growing till today.
So that first year in Bat Yam, you get a place.
That's a cool story, by the way, if you want to.
I do, but let me ask you this. You have 100 kids in the first year out of one facility in Bat Yam. Did you find them or did they find you?
They find us.
Was it them or their schools or their parents? How did they find you? Every which way.
Yeah.
So you very quickly, were you advertising or was it all just word of mouth?
Word of mouth.
Hey, there's these 2 guys. They're going to teach you to surf with one caveat. You have to go back to school.
That's the deal.
How are you guys supporting yourselves at that time? Was there a cost to them coming back?
No. Till today, they don't pay. Kids
Okay,
don't
so
pay.
how did you, 2 guys, start up? You'd quit your jobs to do this, knocked on a zillion doors. How were you covering your own?
We were just these poor students, happy till today.
Surf rat. educators.
Yeah,
of
yeah,
sorts,
exactly.
right?
And the crazy story is like the first place that we got, there was this girl named Tali from the city of Bat Yam, and she's like, yeah, okay, you could use this place. We Googled it, and like, yeah, you could have like this tiny room, and she gave us the key, etc. And like 3 months later, she calls me up like, Yaron, I have a bad news. I'm like, what happened? She's like, I'm leaving my position at the city of Bat Yam, and I'm saying to myself, well, okay, good luck, And she's like, no, you gotta hand me back the key. I'm not really allowed to hand you this place. I was like, I was here, it's Israel, like, you're doing good stuff, yeah, okay. And we're like, well, we have 100 participants here, like, we cannot hand you back the key, right? And she's like, yes, no, yes. So guess what we did?
Went to the city again.
So we didn't went to the city. We were too scared. So they kicked us out. What did we do?
You just kept doing it. I don't know. What'd you do?
We duplicated the key.
Oh, it was that easy?
We duplicated the key. We gave her back her key.
Oh my gosh, that's
and this is how we started off with the HaGal Sheli, just under the radar.
bootlegged.
It's true pirates.
Yeah. You
Yeah,
bootlegged it.
and
In true startup fashion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You just bootlegged it.
And then like half a year later, we came back to the city. You were like, you remember you told us you have no place? Or like, well, you do have a place, and we have so many kids with us. It's like, okay, so hand us back the key, and you have 10 days to evacuate. And we're like, no, wait. Out of 100 participants, 72 are in school already. Like, okay, this is interesting. So they came and saw and everything, and this is how everything just kicked off. And they were like, okay, this is interesting. You could stay. And ever since, it just kept growing and scaling. It's a very long process. Like in the beginning, they take surfboards, wetsuits, whatever you want. Surfboards, wetsuits, you have guides. We're there like 24/7, Sundays to Fridays, every day of the week. But the process is very long. So like year 2, you mix and blend.
When you say mix and blend, some of the new kids in and some of the kids that had already been?
No, because like I meant that kids are coming from all backgrounds in Israel. We have Jewish, Christians, Muslims, boys, girls, Orthodox, ultra-Orthodox, secular, settlers, Arabs from East Jerusalem, Bedouins from the Negev. Like really, like a kid is a kid, period.
Totally inclusive.
100% inclusive.
Hallelujah. And you said it's free.
It's free. Till today. Just
Outstanding.
come. And so in year 2, we mix and blend, and you get to know one another.
When you say mix and blend, explain what you mean. Mix and
Same
blend.
age group. You're 15, I'm 15, you're Arab kids from blood.
So
You're a religious
gotcha.
kid, we're mix and blend. Year 3, and you learn how to surf and getting better. Year 3, we send you to Wingate Institute, where you're getting certified surfing instructor diploma. And then you pay it forward. In year 4, you're eligible to work in our social business that is meant to give you an opportunity to work in a legit work. We call it kosher money. You don't need to sell drugs or do stuff. You'd earn less. You'd earn 1/4, but it's legit. You don't need to look over your shoulder. So they get job opportunities for all summer. And this is how we keep rolling and growing.
Wow. It's incredible. And you've continued, which we'll get to in a minute. But explain that a little bit further. So what's the average length of time that a kid is involved with HaGal Sheli?
So typically 3.5, 4 years.
3.5, 4 years. So is it still one day a week on Wednesday?
Once a week, it's full. It's like every day of the week.
Oh, it's every day.
Yeah, but you have to come at least once a week, and then you start to instruct. You come twice a week. Some kids come every day.
And I'm jumping ahead. Mm-hmm. Over the 10 years, we'll give the stats real quick. Today, how many people have gone through the program? It's a stunning number.
Yeah, 15,000 kids.
15,000 kids.
15,000 kids.
In 10 years.
10 years. And this year alone, we have 5,000.
5,000 this year. We're going to get, I think that's part of chapter 3.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
That's incredible. Let me ask you this. statistics.
Right.
What's the success rate?
Right. So 9 out of 10 kids, 88% will graduate school.
88%.
88%. Of them, 79% will have a full diploma, full bagrut, full matriculation. Out of HaGal Sheli team, they joined the IDF for national service. By the way, they don't have to be Jewish or non-Jewish. So meaning that they used to grab and take, and now they're giving back to
So
society.
they're making a choice to go in, even if they didn't have to?
Correct.
It's more than that. It's also, in Israel there's a mandatory draft, and if you're considered quote unquote like at risk by the Ministry of Welfare, then the Army already doesn't want to invest the time and money in training you, which then you can go to better jobs, like for example, if you serve in intelligence, that's a fast track to working in high tech. And so if you're considered at risk and you have to go home and every single day and help support your family, automatically you're blocked.
So that's so interesting, because you would think in a lot of places they'll take anybody's, maybe even the ones the most challenged stories, and in this case they're saying no, we're going to invest a lot in you. We only want high performers,
exactly,
or we just don't want the lowest or the most challenged folks. Oh
exactly.
Wow, I had no idea.
So for us, it's more than just a matter of how many people end up joining the military or do national volunteering. It's a way to measure social mobility. So if you take kids that automatically would have this block of not getting into those units or into the military in general, then it's much more difficult for them to reach higher education and therefore higher paying jobs. So for us, this is a way to measure really breaking the poverty cycle.
Wow,
yeah,
that's incredible. I never would have guessed that.
Yeah.
And what's interesting, just there's a gentleman that lives not too far from here that I met. He's one of the most financially successful people I've ever met personally. And he says, he's like, Mark, I was trained by the IDF to be the smartest in technology. Mm-hmm. And 20 years later, he's built all these technology businesses, and he's, wildly but it all was based on that.
Yep.
So
Yep.
you have a very good, as a teenager, young adult going into the IDF, you have a very high likelihood of learning real life skills that can take you very, very far.
Even more than that, based off of the most recent study that Ben Gurion University in the Negev, one of the big research universities in Israel, that measured the long-term impact over the past decade, that everything that Yaron just said, basically summing everything up, if you're a kid that's going into HaGal Sheli and you finish the program, you have a better chance of succeeding than someone that isn't in the program and the rest of
the national average.
You guys are producing kids that come from a challenged background, and you're giving them a higher outcome performance than a kid that's
average kid.
Yeah.
So they're growing at a faster rate than an average kid and average life experience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On top of that, it's also because of the educational model that the kids that start in year one, when they become instructors, it's not just they become a surf instructor. Think of it like a CIT program where you then become the instructors and mentors and role models for the very kids that they started off as. So
the program you've built is the flywheel.
Exactly.
You start them here, and then they pay it forward within HaGal Sheli,
exactly.
and then within the country or within
That's the trick.
the sphere.
Yep.
There you go.
Yeah.
Mentor locally, mentor.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
That's why you guys are celebrities. It's really incredible, and I'm glad that you're here, because I think a lot of us can learn from what you guys have done, because even me, and I've had a number of people in here that focus on kids that are in some degree of homelessness, poverty, etc. And we're all trying to build systems or figure out ways to help these kids do better. And there's incredible organizations doing it,
Right.
but you've taken a different approach than.
Yeah, I think like few indicators to understand. Like there's a full curriculum, full syllabus, like 150 pages that adapts every year. It's a very as Ephy mentioned, we're a non-profit of for Salesforce. Like everything is data driven. Everything everything you know where you're doing great, where you're doing good, and where you need to improve. and you just make it better and better. We have a staff of 350 staff members.
Say that again. You have a staff of?
350 staff members.
And how many locations now? You might have mentioned, but
Yeah, we have 10 seafront locations all across the coastline of Israel. We're the biggest, not only in Israel, but in worldwide, using surfing as an educational and therapy tool. And we talked a lot about youth at risk, but we're also working with veterans from the IDF, treating trauma. We're also working with kids with disabilities, special needs, and special education. And every single program has its unique syllabus, curriculum meant to becoming a better position, better person. So we take them one step at a time and measure and learn and getting better and better every single day.
That's incredible. So to have served that many people and with 10 locations, are you tied in with the schools? Are you tied in with, I'm not sure, who are you tied in with now? Because I'm sure that people go, Klil, you got to go work with them, right? Like, hey, you've gotten in trouble. We have a great solution for you. Sign on the dotted line. You're going to go do this, but here are the rules of engagement, right?
Right. So we're in touch with the Ministry of Welfare in Israel, which also helped funding, the Ministry of Education in Israel, and the Ministry of Defense in Israel. We're like for the past 3 years, a formal supplier for the Ministry of Defense, the Rehabilitation Department. And so the school systems know about us, and
You're embedded in the
system.
system.
Like we're off grid, but embedded in the system.
From
makes sense.
all those no's. I mean, it truly is. It's a startup story.
Yeah.
No. We always talk about in business, or you read about in business, that it takes failure to drive success.
Right.
And that resilience, and rejection, when you have that many no's, and yet you persevere and you carry on, and 10 years later you've served 15,000 people, and you have a higher success rate than a kid that doesn't go through your system, that is in an average upbringing, and now you're embedded in the government at multiple layers and in 10 different cities,
Right.
through surfing. Who would have thought? It's incredible.
Tada. Thank you.
It's really wild and wonderful, and I give you guys huge props.
Yeah, thanks, man.
I was going to ask you how people find out about you, but again, when you're celebrities, everybody finds out about you. So, and you're getting a lot of, again, it's back to the flywheel. The more good things you do, the more awareness it drives, the more people see a solution. How lovely to have. We don't have anything like this. I'm sure there's many tools available, but to go, hey, you're having a hard time here, because it's got an allure.
Right.
Hey, you're having a hard time growing up, or you're getting in trouble, go surfing.
Go surfing.
Don't go clean up trash on the side of the road. Don't go, go surf. Go
Go
meet
surf
people.
and do it with the right crowd, and they'll take you. If you're doing it properly, you got to be very accurate, okay? So if we'll just take kids and throw them into the ocean and surf, I think it would be beneficial, by the way. But I think to make it sustainable and stick, you gotta form a true connection between guides and clinical social workers and psychologists, etc. A true connection, and we're doing it by this shared experience in the ocean, right? Then you get closer, you gain trust. Because what's going on? You're losing trust, right? In the world with your parents, etc., etc., etc. You really gain trust, and then you let somebody go along the road with you. And everything is very delicate. How do you say?
Yeah.
Delicate, because you don't want to say oh yeah, same in the ocean, same in life. You could do better. Try harder. No. It got to be very authentic, and you got to make true connection to build such a thing. And another thing about HaGal Sheli, it's not all of pink and success. The road, as you talked about it, it's they fail, right? Like 2 years later, 3 years later, boom, another felony, another something happens,
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
But the thing about HaGal Sheli is when they phone, like, you'd call me 2 a.m., okay? Drunk, stoned. I'm like, where are you? I'm coming to pick you up. Pick you up.
You
to
guys
this-
will, there are people within HaGal Sheli that will go do that.
pick you up, take you to HaGal Sheli Self-Education Center. Quick shower. Call Becer, everything is okay. Go back to bed. We'll talk about it tomorrow. No worries. I'm here with you.
So you
And-
really play a much deeper role than just it's one day a week to show up, but it's a 24/7 engagement with these kids. Is that
Correct.
right?
Right.
That's the thing. And in the darkest times, that's when they see that you truly care about them.
Right.
And that you're there with them and for them. And you don't judge them. You just like, that's not my life. It's your life.
Mm-hmm.
Bro, you could choose whatever you want. I'm with you. And out of these times that these crazy things happen to us, 100% of the time, 100% of the cases, it just didn't happen again. They saw somebody that believed in them, and they're there with them and for them, and that's it.
It's incredible. It's so incredible. And let's use that as the jumping off point. I want to talk a little bit more about diversity, especially today with everything that's going on and what's going on in the US and on the campuses and all this noise. You guys are inclusive in Israel, serving anybody that needs it. I would imagine when you do that, and these kids are all going through it together, or these young adults, they come out with a very different view of inclusion and diversity as opposed to somebody else that is very isolationist or doesn't want to engage. Can you talk about what you
Sure.
see?
So first of all, just to understand the scope and the scale, in Israel, we have 21% Muslims in Israel, within Israel, not Gaza and etc. And in HaGal Sheli, we have 21% Arabs, Muslims. And
Is HaGal Sheli a microscope? It's the exact same proportions
yeah,
inside as outside.
yeah,
Interesting.
a kid is a kid.
kid is a kid.
And I think, it's challenging, and we experience a lot, but the fact that, you're using the same surfboards, riding the same the same wetsuits, using the same wetsuits, riding the same surfboards, spending time together, getting to know one another, and it really brings people together. And we could disagree, and it's okay, it's fine, we're not the same. But I'll respect you, and you respect me, and we nobody's going nowhere, right? So I think at the end of the day, it really brings people together. This is why, by the way, the U.S. Embassy supports us, and the German Embassy and the Australian Embassy. It's all about diversity. We just came back like 3 months ago from Washington, D.C. We got invited to the White House to speak about HaGal Sheli.
Come on. Good
True
for
story.
you.
Thank
It's
you.
incredible. Well, like we said at the beginning, very well known in Israel, not very well known here yet.
Yeah,
It's on the way.
It's on the way.
Listen, I want to figure out how to start that up here. I mean, it's incredible.
Let's go.
Wow. Well, how did it go at the White House?
It went
Successful?
very, very successful. Yeah, Ephy and I were there sharing the story with some stats about the trauma and therapy program. It's also measured. Yeah.
That's cool. Wow. We're almost to your story and what's going on today. Real quickly, can you shed a little bit more light on the funding? You said it's still free for the kids.
Correct.
But now you have 350 staff, 10 locations, 15,000 people served. How does the funding work?
Right. So we have, by the way, everything is transparent and it's very lean. It's the total cost per year. It's $4.5 million US. And the sources of income are like self-generated, government support. It's basically the vast majority comes from within Israel, like 82% comes from within Israel. And a little bit coming from abroad, also from North America. We have here, Ephy started off like a couple of years ago, a 501c3 charity, Friends of HaGal Sheli, which is extremely important. There was also a pilot program here in San Diego, California, this year with 10 participants just to check it. It weren't amazing. But then October 7th hit, and priorities changed a bit.
Let's go straight into that.
Let's go.
And we're going to start with you talking about how things have pivoted since October 7th. That was the invasion of Israel.
Mm-hmm.
We were going to talk about your story, which is part of that. But talk about how you guys, what you've done, how you pivoted or how it ramped up or what you're doing differently. Because I'm sure your role just became that much more vital based on what happened on that day and what's happened since.
Mm-hmm. So till October 7th, very successful nonprofit. It's working. We had 3,200 participants comes on a weekly basis. And Black Shabbat, Hamas attacked. We're losing Tamar from HaGal Sheli team. She got slaughtered in the Nova Festival. And 18% of HaGal Sheli staff is drifted to reserves.
To the IDF reserves, they
Correct.
got pulled back.
Yeah.
18% of your staff, of your 350.
Yeah. And immediately we're like, okay, we have this tiny little program working with the Ministry of Defense. I'm calling Dr. Tamar Dagan. He's like, listen, we got to do something. We got to act fast. You know, the window to treat trauma is very lean. You know, the odds are against you. The time is against you. You got to act very, very fast. And after Shabbat, Sunday, we have a talk with the team, understanding where is everybody. Monday, we got the map, who got evacuated where. Because I don't know if you know that, but like in Israel, you cannot stay at the north and you couldn't stay at the south of Israel. So people were evacuated away from their homes. And we swung into action, just renting trucks. And the very first week, trucks loaded with surfboards, wetsuits, and open like temporary surf education centers, like more.
But you didn't change your model. You just
No.
you doubled down on your model. You're
Yeah,
like,
it's
it
not like
works.
a pivot, it's like a
surfing
expansion.
But the model works. It's been proven for 10 years. We're just
Yeah.
going to go deep into it.
Yeah.
The story is that really 2 years prior to October 7th, we were an official supplier for the Ministry of Defense Rehabilitation Department. And the way it works in Israel is that, let's say that you're a veteran and you experience some sort of trauma, that in order to receive, some sort of support from the government, to pay for therapy, to pay for, if you can't hold a job because of PTSD, then you'll get some sort of stipend, and it goes on and on depending on the severity of the trauma. That you have to go through this long and very gruesome process in order to receive that recognition. And so once you do, that's a whole other story of how you pass that sort of committee and everything, but once you are recognized as quote unquote identified as a veteran with PTSD, then you have sort of this basket of opportunities and supplements to traditional clinical psychology. And HaGal Sheli is one of those suppliers where
Wow.
the program for the past 2 years, it's accompanied and really established in terms of not just sort of a surf therapy program that we spoke of before with at-risk youth, but something that's clinically proven based off of models of both 30, 40 years
Yeah.
of support that being in the ocean is good for your mental psyche and physical activity, but also a physical presence of a clinical trained psychologist in trauma is there with you.
Got it.
And so for the past 2 years, that was running, and veterans would come to us, and then after October 7th, essentially, that's what we understood as the model that can not just sort of be like a cut and paste will work for everybody, but has to be adapted to work with populations outside of a 45-year-old veteran. What works for a 45-year-old veteran and how you approach that trauma is completely different than a 10-year-old.
Yeah, thank you. That's a good kind of expose. Yaron, so what did you guys do to ramp up and to? You said you got trucks and you got boards and you went. What did that look like?
Crazy. Like, I went to Shfaim, the kids from Kfar Aza, which 100 people from Kfar Aza, a small settlement, got either slaughtered or kidnapped to Gaza.
You went there
Kids,
personally.
I met them personally. I went there. We went there like 3 days after Shabbat. Like we got to Shfaim, to the location before they came there. Just do the setup and starting bringing therapists in, and
So you went to them
Yeah.
and set up shop and let them come find you.
yeah, and they did. Like everybody came because
The whole community.
the whole community, and a few weeks later, and now we have 1,300 participants from all over the Gaza envelope, working with released hostages, working with Nova survivors like Klil, working with the most affected communities all across Israel with our program, and just scaled like crazy because we know that the time is now, and
You said it was you know from your expertise that trauma response is a very small window. So you were able to jump on that, even with the impacts in the country and with your teams being pulled, you were able to pull everything together, the resources you needed, and you just went where you needed to be.
we didn't get all the resources and we didn't get everything we needed, but like we said, we gotta start and gotta do it now. So we did because it was the right thing to do, and I think people nowadays, like a little over half a year later, people understand what we're doing, why we're doing what we're doing, and it just goes on and on. And we're going to establish like 3 more surf education centers this year. We meant to do it in 3 years, but we'll do it now.
Yeah.
So I think not going into politics and everything, I don't think it's relevant. You know, at the end of the day, it's people. And, you know, I came there. I have a 3-year-old son, which I didn't see for 2.5 months because I was there with the community 24/7. Just, you know, kids who lost both of their parents, don't know what to do, where to go, and the only place that they can find peace is going into the ocean and surf. I used to read bedtime stories for kids who are 15-year-old, couldn't go to bed. And we know already for years what's PTSD, you're stuck in the past. You cannot move on forward. You avoid everything. You're starting using drugs, like not to have fun or relax or I don't know, just every day,
Just
all
to
day,
survive.
Right, yeah.
and drink all day. And so go out, do this activity, talk when you feel like it about what you think would be beneficial with professionals, with clinical social workers, trauma specialists. Is going step by step and regaining this trust. You know, a kid came up to me and said, a week after the October 7th, she's like, I lost trust in the government, in the military and the IDF, within my own parents. They couldn't keep me safe within my bedroom. Like, how could you live like that, right? So this is what we're doing. We're rebuilding resilience, trust, giving hope, using surfing as an amazing tool.
Kudos to you. Thank you for what you guys do.
Thank you.
And I think you mentioned it earlier, the numbers. You've served 15,000 people over the last 10 years, but you're serving 5,000 right now. Is that what you said?
Mm-hmm.
So the demand has just gone up exponentially. It
Yeah,
probably
and there's
doesn't-
more. There's much more. Like if we could, we'd do more.
And you're going to add 3 more. But I mean, it probably doesn't slow down after this. I mean,
No.
God willing, the war ends sooner than later, but the impacts are going to be there for a long time,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
Last question, then we're going to pivot over to this young man over here. Of the 350 people on staff, what's the breakdown? How many are, I don't know, clinical social workers? How many are surf instructors? How many are, like, what's the breakdown look like?
Right. So out of them, we have, by the way, 40% girls, 60% boys. The vast majority have either first degree or master degree.
Wow.
We have 5 doctors on our team.
Medical?
Doctors, not medical,
Or
for
PhDs of
how you say it?
Yeah.
PhDs
Yeah.
for
social work, social
Yeah, exactly.
psychology.
lots of social workers and educators. And we have a leading team of 22. Like every surf center has a manager. We have like a financial guy, logistic girl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What percentage of your staff came out of HaGal Sheli, who went through it and ended up working for you, of that 350?
So it's 10 years. We started off at the age of 13. So it's getting bigger now, like the last few years. It's approximately 10%. Our alumni is 10, maybe 15% maximum.
Mhm.
And it's growing. Like every year more kids join. And they're good. They're better than us.
Yeah.
They're amazing. Yeah.
That's a hell of a testimony. I mean, they grew up with it. They were the
Yeah.
beneficiaries of it.
Actually, the manager of the entire social business with the corporates and events and everything is a graduate of HaGal Sheli. And he's like literally the best.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
That's so cool. Okay. You've been awfully quiet sitting over here. He's the young stud, the best looking of the lot. And you have quite a story of what you've had to deal with. And we've talked a lot about the organization, and it's there to support people that have had traumatic experiences. And I don't know of yours, but I know that you were at the Nova Festival. And the only thing I know is you said that you were there with your girlfriend and her sister, and all three of you made it out.
Yeah.
Made it out.
Yeah,
Hallelujah. Thank goodness. I mean, we were all sitting having a coffee, and we're just having a good time. And, you know, like I personalize stuff. And so last night, I made the mistake last night of spending too much time researching and just wanted to be ready. And I was reading up about the Nova Festival, which I knew about, but I didn't sleep last night as a result. I mean, it was harrowing. I can't imagine what you and all the people experience. I can't imagine what you guys have had to deal with helping those that have had to go through the traumatic experiences that happened since October 7th. So I just want to commend what you guys do and how you do it. And I'm super, again, grateful that you're here to talk about it and educate me and educate everybody else, because this is the goodness in the world. This is what we all need, stuff like this, because there's bad stuff that happens far too often to good people. Klil, we don't want to go deep into I don't want to bring that stuff up. I'm sure you've talked a lot about it and dealt with it, but I would love to, you're welcome to share whatever you'd like. What I really ultimately want to find out is how HaGal Sheli has helped you, or what role they've played for you, how you found them. Did they find you? Did you find them? Anything at all?
Yeah, so I'll share a bit about my Nova Festival story, about why and how I'm here. So yeah, October 7th, October 6th, actually, we arrived to the festival. One important thing that I always had about the Nova Festival and regarding trance music community and trance music festivals are that it's not like any EDM or electronic music festival or any concert like we know. It has such a deep connection, spiritual connection, that it's not only dancing to have fun. For me, the dance floor is the place of worship. For me, dancing is the way that I pray. So all of the setting, everything that happened in my most holiest place, the dance floor. And that's something that I really need to bring out and let people know. Yeah.
Do you think is that a common outlook? Do you think most people or a lot of people there feel the same way about that event?
Absolutely.
That it's much more than just going to Coachella to a big party, and it's much deeper than that.
Absolutely. I would describe it, the best way I can describe it is like Burning Man with a deep spiritual connection. Like you can be free to do whatever you want, dress whatever, however you like. People everyone are so loving and respecting, and there will always be those people who walk through the crowd with bottles of water, and they will ask you like, when was the last time that you drink right now? And you can go through the crowd and hug everyone, and everyone will hug you back, and you can smile to everyone, and there is safe space. If you feel a bit overwhelmed, you can go there, and there are those beautiful people who helps you with anything that you need. So absolutely, it's the most beautiful community, the trance music community, all over the world, and especially in Israel.
And when you're saying this is trance trance music. Is that
Yeah.
what it is? How it's
Yeah.
classified? Okay.
So it's this amazing festival with this amazing spiritual connection, and we're dancing, we're praying with our hands to the sky.
And sorry for my ignorance, but
No.
is this a multi-day? Are you camping? Is it just a one day? What was the plan?
So the setting was about 2 days. It started around 11 p.m. Friday, and it was supposed to end at the end of Saturday, like 5 or 6 a.m. p.m.
Yeah.
So this is the setting. We went there. We put our camping area. It's called Kanta in the professional lingo. So we put it right next to the emergency exit. We're lucky enough to sit right to the emergency exit. We didn't knew it by then, but it was a great decision. So we put everything. We had the pleasure, and I had the privilege of dancing for about 5 hours before everything began. And I had the pleasure of going through the crowd and, just as I described, hugging everyone, celebrating life with everyone. And then 6:30, the first boom in the sky that doesn't come from the sound system, the great sound system that we had. Like we heard like this big boom in the sky. I was sitting in the camping area with my partner. She was sleeping in her tent, and her sister. And when the first boom came, we looked at each other, and we said, "Okay, we're used to living in Israel. Maybe it's a plane. Maybe it's something else. We need to be on the look." And not more than 2 seconds, they come. They've been 2 more big booms, and we understood, okay, something is not right. We were waiting about 20 to 30 minutes. Because we were sitting next to the emergency exit, we saw the herd of people just rushing back to their cars, trying to get all of the stuff and rushing back home. And we said, okay, if we'll get out right now, we'll be stuck in a traffic jam with missiles above our heads. So we waited for about 30 minutes and then got out of the perimeter. Then, luckily, I had this low ride. I could drive under the trees because it's an off-road track. I rode under trees and just got to the main road. There I got stuck in an ambush. We got stuck in not an ambush, a traffic jam that was blocked on one side with police barricades, and the other side in an ambush of terrorists. We took out of my car, we left it. About 30 minutes after we got onto the off-road, and from one car to the other, we drove for about 40 to 50 minutes till we got to Netivot police station, which is the safest and the worst place to be because of it's a big target that day. And it's been the worst 13, 14 hours of my life. And my story is hard. I can't take anything away from it, but I'm here to tell about my experience. And I have friends who went through horrors that we can't even start to imagine, and those were their last moments. So yeah, waking up to October 8th was a harsh reality where we have more than 250 hostages. Some of them are my friends. More than 1,400 murdered people. Yeah, just a horrible reality to wake up to.
I can't. You guys can tell. I'm a talker. I have no words. And hearing, it's one thing to read it and be mortified. It's another one to sit here across from you, knowing that you're one of the people that went through it and what you've experienced, and the people that I have no words, but I just want you to know that a lot of us are. And I'm so glad that you guys were there to support. I'm really curious how that worked. I truly, I don't have any words, Klil. I don't know what to say other than thank goodness you're here and you guys were able to get through, and hopefully with the help of this organization, it helps you navigate it. Let's talk about how, if you don't mind, can we talk about how you guys got together and what that's looked like for you?
Absolutely. So the first 2 months after the event, just as Yaron said, the avoidiness and the closiness in my room and with my close friends, it was the maximum level. I couldn't get back to work. Maybe going out with friends, just speaking with them, and mostly Nova survivors. So I would be in a group where people understand each other, and I won't have to talk about the experience over and over and over again. I felt like I lost a lot of trust in organizations, in the country, in the IDF, and about everything. And after 2 months, we have this big WhatsApp group of Nova survivors. And there was this message that HaGal Sheli, I didn't know what it is, although they are celebrities. I didn't know what it is, but I saw that they will teach us how to surf and to deal with the trauma. So me and my partner said, okay, it's a long life dream of mine, and she surfed for a bit after in her trip after surfing. And we said, okay, so let's try. We picked up the phone and we dialed them and we talked with them. And then, for my surprise, I thought that I'll only get there and learn to surf, and that's it. But the most pleasant surprise was when I talked with my instructor, with my surfing instructor, and he told me that we will be accompanied by a psychologist. So it's not just like Yaron really likes to say it. It's not like touch and go, like get into the water, have fun and go out. Like we got really unbelievably good coping tools and coping methods to deal with everything that we experience. Yaron talked earlier about how reflective is the sea, the ocean to ourselves, to our soul. And especially after a traumatic event like this, one day I could be calm and just closed emotionally, and the other day I can be like really all over the place and crying about the most little things or getting flashbacks, pictures about what I've been through the day. And yeah, actually, the first time I've been to HaGal Sheli wasn't the most easiest experience or the smoothest experience, because we had this swimming test just to see that we're all fit to get into the water. And I remember the moment where my legs took off the ground in the middle of the sea, and I felt so insecure, so afraid, because it's the first time after a couple of months that I don't have any control. Like I don't even stand on the ground. And I remember myself getting out of the sea and pulling down my wetsuit, and I thought to myself, okay, this was the first time and the last time I'm here. Again, luckily I surf with my partner. We surf together in the same team. And the next week, she said, okay, I'm gonna go. If you wanna join, you can join. If you wanna stay, stay. And I thought to myself, okay, I don't have anything to stay for in the house. I'll go to the beach. I'll sit on the beach and watch you surf. And we got there, and I saw the whole group just going into the sea and surf and have their faces light up and big smiles just everywhere. And I thought to myself, okay, I'm gonna be here next week as well, and this time I will get into the water. And ever since, I haven't missed even one meeting that we had. It became the most anticipated moment for my week. Like I surfed in a group on Friday, so ever since each Saturday, I waited for the next Friday to come and just get into the water and meet with the group, because something really important and special that we do is it's not just go to the sea and get out. We sit as a group, we speak it with each other, then we get into the sea, and then we get out of the sea and we speak again and talk about how we felt and what we've been through. And before the session, we get another tools like Model Efrat, which is how do I translate it?
What are you experiencing, and how do you
Events,
feel,
emotions.
and how do you want?
Debrief, unpack.
Yeah.
Yeah,
How do you
like-
want? How do you want to address it? Like, I just felt fear. Like, okay, all right. Do you want to do something with it? You want to let it in? You want to shut it? And there are few.
It's like you said, it is a very defined psychological therapeutic approach
Yeah.
wrapped in a surfing wrapper.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
100%.
That is so great.
And another one is Model Stop, which is stop, take a breath, observe, and then take an action. So after a traumatic event, it's easy to stay in the past and to look in the past. And when we're using those kind of models, it really helps us, helped me especially, to get into the moment and to stay in the place that I need to stay and just go out and have fun and learn and deal with everything. So yeah, that's my journey.
How's it going?
Amazing. You can see here. You can see me now here. The other way of the other side of planet Earth. Here, smiling, surfing. Here with those amazing guys that helped me so much and helped my friends and my partners so much. And it's only the beginning for me. Last week I started a volunteering program at HaGal Sheli.
Outstanding.
So in a couple of months I'll be volunteering in HaGal Sheli, hopefully helping more Nova survivors and more people all over who suffered from October 7th, and to give back, just as Yaron and Ephy said, pay it back, pass it forward.
You become a catalyst for the next group.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
God, let me just say this. I'm so proud of you and so grateful that you have this organization. Like, again, it's total chicken skin for me because I'm seeing the connection, and thank you for sharing the story. I cannot fathom it. And I'm so glad that you said yes. And you said, the first time I wasn't sure I was going to go back, second time I wanted to go out. It's lovely. It's really a very special story. So thank you. Thank you so much for sharing that. And again, thank you guys for what you've built. It's incredible. We're going to wrap up in a minute, but I've got a couple questions. I could go all day. I would really love to, but people will fall asleep. What's next? I mean, with your kind of growth right now, I think it's probably just hold on and grow as fast as you can to support the community. Is that what
That's the challenge, yeah. The demand, the need is huge nowadays. And we got to stretch it.
What do you need to stretch it? What has to happen for you to be able to stretch it?
The major barrier, we have two major barriers now. A is funding, obviously, and the second barrier is places on the beach.
Mm-hmm.
We have like 44 groups on the pipeline waiting just to get like the funding and go out. So this is one.
You
of the
heard it,
reasons-
people. We've got some work to do to support these folks.
Yeah. So we're running like crazy, raising awareness, raising funds, opening more and more groups. And the good news is that out of every group, some of the participants, not only they have the tools and abilities to cope with things, but also they will pay it forward and move it on, which will reduce cost and help us be more sustainable, more effective. So the more we do it, the better we're getting as an organization and doing much good to this world. So we're lucky to do what we're doing.
Yeah, hallelujah. Well, listen, I talked to a lot of nonprofits in here. It's the hardest thing to do because it requires a lot of money, and what money comes in you don't keep. It goes towards paying for services. So it requires the community and the public and supporters to fund and to keep allowing you to grow.
Right.
Mhm.
So that's what we're going to have to do to help everybody that listens and watches. What a great organization. How can people find out more?
I think Google us. Write down HaGal Sheli, My Wave. We have everything on our website. Write to us. We have Ephy on our team. Is the number one. It's the best. This
Yeah,
D
blushing
guy
over here.
opened.
Blushing.
He's
This
the
guy.
one opening the Friends of organization, and I think the community here in Newport Beach and all their area is being very, very generous and incredibly. We're like stoked to know everybody, and we will be back. So thank you so much.
Fantastic.
And by the way, one more thing: if you've listened so far, whenever next in Israel, please grab a cup of coffee with us in Tel Aviv. We have an amazing beachfront place, and we'd love to share more. So thank you so much.
Awesome. You guys, thank you so much for your stories. Thanks for being here. Thanks for all that you do. Thanks for staying on it.
Yeah.
And I'm really, again, I have no words for your story, but I'm so proud to see you here with a big old smile. And again, he's a good-looking kid right here. He's going to go far. I love it. You guys, this was awesome. Thanks so much. And we have an event at the Board Club tonight. That'll be long past by the time this airs, but I can't wait to go see you guys again in front of the Newport Beach community. So
Yeah, thanks, man.
thanks, guys.
Yeah.
You guys are rad.
The
Thank you
best.
very much.
Thanks,
Give me
dude.
some skin.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah, fellas. You. Thank you.
Thank you.